Hey, this is Joe. I want to thank you for checking out my video. I will be reviewing Shadow of the Tomb Raider from 2018. I played my version on the PlayStation 4. This is the third game of the rebooted trilogy that started in 2013. Um, Basically, I'll give a few spoilers, nothing too major, I think. I think it's a very, very good game. Um, the first two games, in my opinion, are two of the very best video games I've ever played. Um, Kind of a short history. When Tomb Raider came out in 1996, I was aware of Lara Croft and the movies and whatnot. It didn't really appeal to me that much. Um, on my old Xbox, the original Xbox, I think it was around 2005, I played the demo for Tomb Raider Legend, and I was just completely blown away with it. It totally hooked me. I bought the game, I loved it. The follow up sequels weren't as good, so that kind of, she's pretty stagnant there for a few years. And then 2013 came along, and in the same year that Grand Theft Auto 5 and The Last of Us was released, to me, that rebooted Tomb Raider in 2013 was by far the best game of the year. And right now, that ranks, I would say, number 2 or 3 on my all time list. I love that game. I love the story. I love Lara Croft's, origin story, basically. Just an outstanding game. Um, I give it a 10 out of 10. It's not perfect, but oh my god, it's so good. I played through it so many times to the point where I can play through it and get all everything unlocked, 100% completion without consulting any on the internet or anything like that. So it's a small accomplishment that I'm pretty proud of. Anyway, that being said, that's a high bar. And then the second game, Rise of the Tomb Raider, which was originally an Xbox exclusive uh, in 2015, so I had to wait about a year. I think it was released in 2016 for yeah, it was the 20th year anniversary, so I got that in 2016. Rise of the Tomb Raider, which again is an excellent game. Um, it's a much bigger game, but I still feel overall that original 2013 is the better game. Which kind of leads me to a point where I think this new Tomb Raider series to me is a lot like the Arkham Asylum games that came out starting in 2009. I think that first Arkham Asylum game is an incredible game. One of the very best games I've ever played. The sequel, Arkham City, much like Rise of the Tomb Raider, yeah, it's a bigger game, but overall, I think the experience and the enjoyment out of their original game is just unparalleled in both Tomb Raider and Arkham, which leads us to Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which to me is a lot like Arkham Origins. It's a very good game, but compared to with the previous two games, it doesn't measure up. And that's kind of unfair for any game to maintain that level that the first two games had. But getting back to Shadow, I think it's a very good game despite its flaws. Um, a couple of complaints is, and I'll get one of the major spoilers out of the way, is the ending. It felt very anticlimactic. And I'm not talking about the boss battle with, I think his name is Dominguez. It turns out, during the course of the game, you find out he is, I think they said, he's the highest ranking officer or executive of the Trinity organization that was established in uh, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Which, going back to that game for a quick second, that stinger scene at the end where the sniper kills I think her name was Anna, and he had his scope set right on Laura, and he asked the whoever, should I take the shot on Laura? And the distinctive old man voice said, no, let her go, or something to that effect. And I was like, wow, that's really intriguing. Trinity sounds really cool. I hope this final game is just her just wrecking shop and taking out everybody in that organization. And spoiler alert, it doesn't happen. There's a new antagonist, Kraus. He's like a high military officer in the organization. It's him and basically Dominguez. And in dropped lines of dialogue, we find out that the high-ranking officers of the Trinity tribe or whatever are located in the final stages of the game. They're kind of off-screen. And, you know, they all die. But we don't see it. And that was anticlimactic. And the boss battle with, I think his name is Dr. Dominguez. Something to that effect. Yeah, it's a much better battle than against, I'm drawing a blank on the bad guy's name from the first rebooted game, which was, you know, the whole point of that boss battle was you had to get through all those soldiers to get to him, and, you know, he wasn't really much of a battle. This guy Dominguez, I would say it's a little tougher than Constantine from Rise of the Tomb Raider, but again, it was just so anticlimactic. I was really expecting this game to close the book on Trinity, and yeah, I guess the book is closed, but I didn't find it to be a very happy ending. But let's see, another small complaint, and I know I'm in the minority on this, is Jonah. I don't like Jonah. In the first game, he was annoying, but tolerable, I guess. In the second game, he got a beefier role, and I don't know. The character rubs me the wrong way. In this game, he is full-blown annoying, and he's a complete and total detriment to Laura. This guy to me, he just gets in the way of the story. He's distracting, and he doesn't bring anything to the table. And they kind of did the cheap thing in the second game, Rise of the Tomb Raider, where you think he's dying or dead, and then turns out he's not. And I was like, all right, hopefully in this game, I know it's kind of sick and twisted, but I was really hoping he would die in this game as like a sacrifice or something. And at some point in the game, Kraus is talking to Laura over the walkie-talkies and said, your friend Jonah is dead. Over the walkie-talkie, your friend Jonah is dead. I paused the game and I said, fuck you. I unpaused the game and immediately Laura said, fuck you, Kraus. And I'm like, no, it's fuck you, game. You can't do that. So I knew at that point, not only was he alive, but he wasn't going to die in this game. And, you know, that's a shame because I think it's a weak character. He, to me, is one of the most annoying NPC characters in gaming. To me, he's up there with Ashley Graham from Resident Evil 4. And if anybody knows that bitch, you know how annoying she is. But that's what Jonah is to me. He brings nothing to the table. He's a total detriment to Laura. And I was just hoping he would die in some kind of sacrifice. But whatever. A couple of things I thought were really cool was the opening scene on the plane with Laura and Jonah. And I won't spoil what happens. You'll see it as soon as it's the first cutscene of the game. And I was like, whoa, that was cool. And the other thing I liked was, I'm just going to call it, Laura emerges from the fire lake. I don't know what it's called exactly, but there's a scene in the game where she's basically knocked the F out in water, and she has these flashbacks conversations with Jonah and whatnot. And it's really powerful, really epic. And when she comes out of that lake, you know some dudes are going to get fucked up. And it is one of, not the best scene in the game. It's one of the, it's probably one of the very best scenes in the entire series. Just a total fist pump moment. You're like, oh, she's about to wreck shop. That was awesome. Um, let's see. Um, I want to give props, props to Croft, voice actress Camilla Luddington, who's played Laura in the last 3 games, and she's phenomenal. I will give this game above the other 2. There's a lot more dramatic acting in it, and she's incredible. And I've seen interviews with her saying this is probably her last game. I hope not. I really think they can obviously do so many more stories with this game engine and these story writers that they have for the new Lara Croft. I think the possibilities are endless. So I'm really hoping Shadow does well commercially to warrant future games, and I hope Camilla comes back because she is absolutely Lara Croft, and I have nothing but praise for her. Another kind of nitpick I have is when you're dealing with NPCs in the villages and whatnot, and they take you on missions. I don't like the new way that you approach someone, you hit triangle in my case, and the screen cuts black, and then it's a full motion video of you talking to that particular character. It's kind of jarring and kind of takes you out of it. Rise of the Tomb Raider, it was you press triangle and the scene stays where it's at. Gameplay, it doesn't switch to a full motion video, and the character's lips just kind of move. That's it. Not perfect, but I would prefer that over this new way they did it. It's just kind of distracting and whatnot, but again, it's just a minor nitpick. Before I go, I just want to say, knowing this was the last game for a while, I wanted to take my time with it. So I got it. I got the Steelbook edition a couple of days before, and I just finished up last night, September 30th. So a couple of weeks I had it, and I wanted to go through and get as much unlocked as I could. So I finished the game at 92 point something %, which I'm really proud of, that I was able to accomplish 92% of the game. Now this last 8%, I'm going to get on the internet and go through and pick up the remainder, because I want to hit that 100%, and then I want to go into the New Game Plus, which, like the Arkham games, brings whole new life to Tomb Raider now, because it carries forward everything you've unlocked, your weapons, your outfits, everything. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's a daunting to have to go surf through the internet and figure out, which documents and relics and everything. I think I have the trophy for I beat all the tombs. So I know I got all the tombs taken care of, but all the documents and whatnot, I have to go back and figure out what I have left. So anyway, that's basically my review. I would give the rebooted Tomb Raider in 2013, I'd give that a 10 out of 10. I'd give Rise of the Tomb Raider a 9.5, and I will give Shadow of the Tomb Raider an 8.5 out of 10, and then for Shadow, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Just a very good game. It just doesn't quite measure up to the other two. But I want to thank you again for checking out my video. And if you have any questions, or I'd love to talk to other fans that have played this game, whether you loved it or hated it or disappointed or whatnot, I'd really like to talk about it, because I think it's a very cool game, and I really do hope they make more in the future. But again, I want to thank you for checking out my video. I will talk to you later.